Okay, let's unpack this. We often talk about wanting to give our younger selves advice.
Sure.
But what if that younger self, that scared, often invisible version of you, wasn't just a memory? What if it's a frightened, lonely part of your present adult consciousness?
Mm.
Today, we are undertaking a deep dive into, well, emotional time travel. Our mission is to connect with and integrate what's often called the inner child to achieve emotional wholeness right now.
That's the perfect frame for it. The sources we've distilled for you today are excerpts from a really intensive, focused guide, and we're zeroing in on day 9.
Day 9, okay.
Yeah, it's a point in this process where a lot of the foundational work is done and the subject turns critically to forgiveness and integration. This is all about moving beyond what our parents could or couldn't provide
And taking charge yourself.
and taking charge of healing the deeply buried feelings that, still govern our decisions today.
And for you, our listener, this deep dive is kind of a shortcut to understanding that path of rapid, thorough self-compassion. We're looking for the practical steps.
The actual techniques.
Exactly, the techniques that unlock this massive internal shift. We'll be focusing on mirror work and visualization as tools for radical acceptance of, well, every version of yourself that ever existed.
To do that, though, we have to start where the pain is. And the material points immediately toward the trap of self-criticism.
And this is where the analysis gets really insightful. If you grew up in an environment dominated by fear, or constant scolding, or even physical conflict, the adult version of you is likely continuing that same pattern.
But internally.
Internally, we develop this habit of mentally beating ourselves up.
And that phrase is so critical because, according to the guide, it's not just some bad habit, it's the continuation of the original trauma. You are treating that inner child exactly the same way they were treated when they were small.
And that part of you, the child, it has absolutely no place to go.
No place to go.
What does that mean exactly? It's not a memory you can just put away.
No, it's not a memory in a box. It's an emotional current that's running through your adult life. So the child feels lost, lonely, and fundamentally rejected.
Which creates a deep disharmony.
A huge disharmony. I mean, if the only interaction the adult self has with this sensitive internal child is to constantly criticize them or ignore them, for being messy or dramatic or fearful.
Then how can you possibly expect to feel happy or whole?
You can't. The guide states it very simply. We cannot reject a part of ourselves and still be in harmony within. That internal civil war is the root of so much unhappiness.
Which means the necessary move, psychologically, is a massive power shift.
Right.
We have to realize that what happened back then was a product of their consciousness.
Right. Our parents operated based on their own limitations, their own traumas, their own set of knowledge.
And that realization is the key to decoupling from the past.
It is. The guide emphasizes that the responsibility now shifts completely to you, the adult. We are the parents now. We are responsible for using our current consciousness, our mature awareness.
To provide the care and acceptance that child never got.
The unconditional love, yeah.
But I imagine a lot of listeners might struggle with that initial hurdle of forgiving the past, especially if the pain was, severe. How does the guide address that?
That's a crucial question, and the material is very direct about it. It suggests that refusing to step into that parental role, refusing to care for the inner child, well, it means being stuck in your own resentment.
Stuck.
And that resentment, it doesn't just block you from forgiving your parents. It blocks you from forgiving the critical, judgmental part of yourself.
So to move forward.
To move forward, there is invariably someone, or yourself, that still needs to be forgiven. The healing has to begin with an internal amnesty.
And this amnesty, it's not some, complex philosophical project. It's framed as a stark daily choice.
Right. The source presents it almost like a formula. Do you want a life sustained by pain, or do you want a life that is actively generating joy?
The choice is yours, and it's available right now.
And this is where we get to that powerful metaphor in the source material, that love is the biggest eraser I know.
Okay, I love that phrase. But it's not just a fluffy affirmation, right? The philosophy here seems to suggest that love fundamentally changes the structure of memory itself.
It does.
So is it saying we literally forget the painful memory? Or is it more nuanced, like we change our emotional relationship to the memory?
It's the latter. And that's what makes this concept so compelling. Intellectual analysis helps you understand why something happened, but it doesn't heal the feeling. Love, when it's used as a tool, essentially recodes the emotional charge attached to that memory.
So the event still happened.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the deep shame or fear or loneliness that came with it starts to fade because it's being met retroactively with acceptance.
So if love is the active eraser, how does the guide tell you to use it? What's the first practical step?
The initial technique is a simple visualization. It's a necessary first step to build trust with the inner child. You're asked to consciously visualize taking that child by the hand. And for the next few days, you consciously decide to go everywhere together. The specific instruction is to create joyous experiences.
I see. So you're immediately changing the function of the inner child from this like source of pain into a partner for fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's creating living proof that the adult you is safe and fun to be around. And while the guide totally recognizes this might sound a little ridiculous or silly to the serious adult mind,
I was going to say some people might resist that.
they do, but the instruction is firm. Please try it. It really works. It's an exercise in spontaneity and conscious reparenting.
And this visualization then transitions into something that grounds the practice in the present.
Huh.
Affirmations.
Yes. You're tasked with looking into your own eyes, acknowledging the person and the child within, and affirming two key statements.
What are they?
The first is that direct emotional acknowledgement, I love my inner child. The second, which is maybe even more empowering for the adult, is I am in charge of my life now.
Ah, I see. That one directly dismantles the old rules from the past. It tells the inner child that the abusive or neglectful external authority is gone.
You are the sole authority now.
And that shift in authority really sets the stage for the most intensive practice on day 9, mirror work. This is where the emotional reckoning happens.
It's incredibly powerful because it bypasses the intellectual mind and goes straight to the emotional self through visual acknowledgement. The setup is very specific.
Right, you're told to have a picture of yourself as a child taped to your bathroom mirror.
That visual anchor makes it real. You look at the image at the face of that past self, and the instruction is to start simply. You just say, I care about you, I love you, I really love you.
And then comes the apology, the critical step. This is the moment you confront the decades of internal rejection.
It's not an apology to someone else. It's an internal act of radical self-acceptance.
And the language is so raw, it's meant to cut through any defenses. I'm sorry I haven't talked to you over the years. I'm sorry I scolded you for so long.
I want to make up for all the time we spent apart from each other. It's a massive admission of guilt toward yourself.
And it carries so much weight. For many people, that separation has lasted 50 or 60 years. The child inside has been abandoned for decades.
And the guide acknowledges connection may not be instant. Trust has been broken. It really encourages persistence.
So for someone trying this, how do they know it's working? What are the promised signs of success beyond just repeating the words?
The signs are deeply visceral. The guide promises that if you persist, you will eventually feel the presence of this integrated part of yourself. You may feel the child inside you, or even more strikingly, hear the child inside you, or maybe even see the child inside you. It's described as a genuine internal sensation of presence.
And because this process is basically opening up a dam of suppressed feeling, the source says to keep a tissue box nearby.
Absolutely. The tears are not a sign of failure. They are the mechanism of healing. The tears will help you to break through and connect. That emotional release is tangible proof that the critical self is finally stepping aside.
So once that initial connection is made, the deep dive shifts from direct emotional work to active integration.
Right. Through spontaneity, we move from the mirror to the journal.
Okay, what's the prompt?
The task is to uncover lost joys. You're asked to write down, what did you really like to do when you were little? Not what you were told to do, but what truly brought you joy.
And then you have to ask yourself when the last time you actually did any of those things was.
And the reason most of us haven't is, well, it's telling. The source points out that too often the parent inside us will stop us from having fun because it's not the adult thing to do.
That inner critic, the restrictive parent.
Exactly. It fears judgment and it prioritizes rigid control over joy. So to dismantle that, the guide demands immediate action. You don't just think about it. You put down the journal and you go outside and play with your little child.
I love that it gives these immediate, relatable, and frankly kind of ridiculous examples.
Jumping in a pile of leaves.
Or running under the garden sprinkler.
It's designed to be slightly ridiculous. That's the nature of spontaneity. It forces the adult to embrace joy without justifying it.
And this commitment to fun ties directly into the core heart thought for the day, which is all about growth.
Yes, the affirmation is, I am willing to change and grow. It's about consciously deciding to drop old concepts, old beliefs, old habits that just don't work anymore.
But the goal is highly nuanced here, and I think this is one of the most powerful insights in the whole guide.
The distinction between being a better person.
Versus more of who you really are.
Precisely. The goal is not to become a better person, which subtly implies that you are currently inadequate.
Right, that you're insufficient somehow.
Instead, the goal is to become more of who you really are. It's an exercise in amplification, not repair. You're increasing your authenticity by shedding those layers of self-protection and judgment.
That reframe changes everything. You're not fixing a deficiency, you are reclaiming your natural self. It makes looking at painful things feel less like a chore.
And more like an exciting discovery, it should feel exciting, because the ultimate objective of day 9 is synthesis, making yourself whole. And the final exercise is a powerful guided meditation that walks you through your entire life timeline.
The objective here is huge. To gather all the many fragmented parts of yourself from different ages and experiences and bring them all together.
To achieve complete integration and wholeness in the present moment. And the meditation is methodical, ensuring no part of your timeline is left behind. The chronological journey starts by finding the 5-year-old version of yourself.
And you visualize holding out your arms to that child and saying those crucial words, I am your future and I have come to love you.
You bring that child forward with you, but the journey doesn't stop there. It's fascinating, the level of detail the guide instructs you to apply. You move backward and forward, loving every version of yourself.
Always with the understanding that at every stage you were doing the best you could.
Which includes going all the way back to the very beginning, the baby. You are asked to consciously love the little tiny baby who just arrived, acknowledging the difficult birth, the cold air, the harsh lights.
You love that vulnerable new life.
Then you move forward. You love the toddler learning to walk, the one who would stand up, fall down, scrape a knee, but just kept trying.
That small victory needs acknowledgement.
And then the emotional milestones start piling up. You love the scared child on the first day of school, taking those first steps over the threshold.
You acknowledge that fear of the unknown.
You move to the 10-year-old who is just surviving whatever was dominant at that time. Then the exciting, often confusing teenager navigating puberty.
Acknowledging how difficult it was to just get through that.
The integration continues into early adulthood. You love the person starting their first job, anxious, trying too hard, but doing their absolute best to succeed.
And critically, you have to gather the parts of yourself wounded by love.
Yes. You love the person suffering from the first time you were rejected in love, when the heart hurt so intensely, and that self felt certain no one would ever love them again.
You gather up that existential pain and affirm it.
And this systematic collection of all these disparate selves, the fearful child, the clumsy teenager, the heartbroken young adult, it all culminates in the final synthesis.
You stand in front of the mirror, visualizing all of yourselves standing right there with you.
And the ultimate realization is that this collection of experiences, the difficult, the painful, the confusing moments, all of it together constitutes the richness and fullness of your life. And the profound healing affirmation is simply, that's all right.
So we circle back to our mission. This intensive work, this day 9 deep dive, it's ultimately about one thing: making yourself whole again.
Absolutely. Wholeness is the measure of healing. You can't be whole if you're actively rejecting the part of yourself that was once scared or clumsy or heartbroken. Loving and accepting every single part is the only path to genuine, sustained healing.
And the guide leaves you with one final, gorgeous visualization. After gathering all those past selves, you turn around and look ahead. You see a future self standing before you with arms outstretched.
And they're saying the same thing you told the 5-year-old. I am your future and I have come to love you.
The implication is that life is just this endless opportunity to love yourself, past, present, and future.
It's a self-sustaining loop of unconditional acceptance, extending backward and forward in time.
So we'll leave you with this single thought to mull over today. If healing requires making yourself whole, and wholeness requires acceptance, what single previously rejected part of your past, whether it's the 10-year-old trying to survive or the young adult heartbroken after their first rejection, will you choose to actively embrace and forgive today to feel more complete? What version of you deserves that hug?